Hey guys, welcome back to Mystery Box March. If you're just tuning in here and you don't know what Mystery Box March is, I've created a playlist for it and I'll put the link right up there for you if you want to get all caught up. The short version of events is that I've got a whole bunch of boxes and crap down here in the basement and we want to start organizing them and loading them onto these shelving units. And if you guys tuned into the last episode, you saw that we only had half of this last one built, and this week I did get parts from the company, so I just finished that up quick. There will be a full review of my thoughts about assembling these and value and all that stuff coming out really soon, but for right now, let's just get into actually opening our first mystery box of Mystery Box March. I believe we're going to go for that guy right there. And I feel kind of bad for catfishing you guys so far, because so far we haven't opened a freaking box yet. So let's get inside that one and see what it is. Also, this box I thought was an Escort muffler is actually the muffler for the Jeep. And remember, the whole point of it being called Mystery Box March is because I don't even remember what's in these boxes. So let's find out. Let's see if this is something that's going to be easy to deal with or hard to deal with. This is one of the boxes that I was kind of hoping to not really unpack, but we probably should. I'm pretty sure what we've got going on here is a whole grip of used Escort parts. I am, at this point, a non-participating member of an Escort forum, and there was a guy that's like, hey, I got a whole bunch of stuff, and I bought just a ridiculous amount of Escort parts off this guy for like $200, and this is what I think is quite a lot of it. Except this, I know this is a new brake booster. It's brand new Ford OE brake booster. So all this stuff is just kind of spare inventory, but all the same, we're gonna go through it so we know what we have and so I can share with you guys. And we will probably just put some of it on the shelf right now as temporary storage, and then we're gonna label these bigger totes and scoot them off somewhere so we know what to do with it. The bummer there is that I actually have a label maker that I can't frickin' find, so I'm gonna have to get some masking tape or something to temporarily label this stuff. Let's pull out our treasures and see what we actually have in here. So here's everything that was in that tote. And we'll just go down the list and we'll identify it all for you guys. This is a spare tachometer dash gauge cluster. So this is an entire gauge cluster that has a tach in it. And it's pretty rare for second generation Escorts to have a tach dash. Mine does. And since I bought all this crap along with a bunch of other crap in complete bulk, and the guy I bought it from was, he didn't have Escorts anymore, so he just wanted to get rid of it all, and I bought it all really cheap. I just went for broke and just bought a ton of stuff, so if I ever blow out my dash cluster, I've got a spare. I think these are the screws that go with it. He was nice and put a lot of stuff in Ziplocs for me, so I'll probably tape those together and put them somewhere. These things here, Escorts have power shoulder belts. It's a weird 90s Japanese car thing, so when you get in the car and you close the door, the seatbelt automatically comes up and clicks in for you. These motors are notorious for going out and the tracks go bad and everything else. These are 4 spare power seatbelt motors, and I'm not sure if they're all for 2-door or 4-door Escorts or whatever, but that's what they are. And you can see the little seatbelt connector thingamabobs right on the end of them, but that's what they are. These, he told me, were spare hatch struts for a wagon, but my hatch struts don't actually have this type of connection on the rear, so maybe these were for something else, but either way I'm just going to junk these and probably keep just the little ball hardware, because that could be handy in the future for some other car. And I already put like brand new hatch struts on mine last winter, so these are just junk now, which is some of what we're trying to do here, is just get rid of crap. Moving on, we've got a spare coolant overflow bottle and a spare windshield washer bottle and pump, and I'm not sure if this is for the one under the hood or if this is for the one for the rear tailgate, because my tailgate washer doesn't work. I'm not sure which one this is, but if this is for the rear, that'd be cool. This guy I actually just got from him because this cap is actually a low coolant level sensor, and it's the same on Escorts as it is the Ford which shall not be named. The one on the Ford which shall not be named doesn't work right, so I've got that if I need it. This is a whole bag of the steering wheel cruise control switches and stuff, and all the wire harnesses and clips and all that crap for it, because again, it's pretty rare for Escorts to have cruise control. It wasn't a popular thing back in the day. And this is actually a spare cruise control servo, and all of the cables and all of the vacuum lines and all that stuff for it. So we've got basically a spare parts Escort cruise control setup here if I ever need the pieces. These are rear, I think, wagon and maybe sedan, but for sure wagon side marker lights that apparently pretty hard to find, so I got 2 spare sets of them here. My car has crank windows, so these are spare cranks that I think I'm going to end up cutting up and using to customize something. These are spare door pin switches. These are what control your dome light when you open the door on the car and close it. Escorts are notorious for these things going bad, so you'll come out to your car and the dome light's just on, and my car actually does have that problem, so we'll probably be going through these and cleaning them up and testing them and seeing about replacing them. So I don't think you can actually get these new anymore, or not quality new, I'm not sure, but I got 4 spares here. This is a spare multifunction switch. So this has your wiper stocks and your turn signals and all that stuff, and I believe these are unique for cruise control cars, and these are like $120 if you need one new. Just had them throw it in as part of the whole parts deal, because why not? It actually looks like my car has probably had one replaced already, but here we go, another spare. Spare light bulbs. Comically, a whole ton of really nice shape Escort rear light wire harnesses that I can't actually use. It's a long story why I can't use them, but I've got these here and they'll be nice for other things in the future. Like this one's legitimately in brand new condition. I'm not sure it's ever been used. Yeah, this other connector in the same harness for it looks the same. These look brand new. So if nothing else, maybe some other car in the future we'll need a socket for, and we've got some nice spare sockets to graft on if we need them. And I almost forgot, we got 2 spare 5-speed shifter boots for Escorts. These look like crap, but they're actually in pretty good shape, and these are also no longer available. I've actually had to buy a new old stock one before for a different Escort. So if we ever rip a shifter boot or mine wears out, we've got 2 reasonable replacements here we can just clean up and slap in the car. And that keeps cold air from blowing in the cabin, so you know, these are, or hot air for that matter, so these are nice to have. So those are all the contents of our first mystery box. What I think I'm gonna do is start clustering this stuff up into kind of like items in probably other boxes, because as we go on, I know there are more Escort parts, and I'll start clustering all that stuff together, like interior parts and lighting, and I guess technically I'll maybe call the cruise control an engine part or something like that, and we'll start grouping like things together, and then we'll figure out how we're ultimately going to sort it later. Because this stuff here, for the most part, is just stuff I have that is in storage until I need it, so I don't really need it to be super accessible on the shelves, but I do need it more organized than what it is, so I'm not always going through the same crap all the time trying to find stuff that isn't this. And just to be a little more completionist about things, I told you guys this is a spare vacuum booster. You may not know what that means. That's a vacuum booster. Your brake master cylinder goes on the front of this, and this is what gives you power brakes. If you look at the Ask Max episode of Is Brake Fluid Bad for Paint, and I'll give you a flag up there if you want to go check it out, you can see the one that's on my car is just all rusted down the front, and I thought that's because my brake master cylinder was leaking into it. And these have a big rubber diaphragm inside them, and the diaphragm in these is incompatible with brake fluid because it's not ever supposed to have brake fluid in it. So what happens when the master cylinder starts filling one of these up with brake fluid is that they go bad. And I thought that's what was going on. I was just going to throw this one on the car as a safety precaution, but it turns out it's actually quite an ordeal to swap one of these out. You've got to take out quite a bit of the dash to get down to being able to get to the nuts that hold it on in the back. So I just left it the way it is. It's been 3 years now and everything's fine. So I think what was going on is the guy was just overfilling it because it was leaking and spilling fluid all down the front of it, and that's how it got rusty. So we just have this brand new one hanging out, and it was dirt cheap. It was like $25 from Rock Auto or something like that. So we'll keep it around. But all the same, just because I remember what it is today doesn't mean that in 5 years I will. So I went ahead and put on it what it is. It's a 95 Escort brake booster. So now we'll always know what that box is. And that is the continued theme that I went with right on down the line, just labeling stuff. And for some of these parts, I've put them in these plastic totes. I actually have about, no joke, like 60 of these small totes that I'm using to organize all sorts of things. And this kind of stuff would probably be fine in cardboard boxes. But I do really like having them in clear totes because although it says, you know, Escort interior, Escort lights, whatever, I can actually just look into the box and see what I have. And these shelves are actually going to work out just like I hoped they would, because I can put 9 of these small totes in one of these shelf pockets here. So by all 4 locations, I can actually put 36 of these small totes and put, you know, sandpaper and nuts and bolts or whatever in them that I want. And I'm not afraid of buying more stuff to get this the way I want it. And I'm not afraid of buying durable stuff like these totes because these are going to last me the rest of my life, even if the contents of them change. But I'm kind of afraid of doing it right now because, as I said before, funds are low. But we got plenty of materials on hand to at least get started organizing stuff. So that is the contents of one mystery box right there. Sorted, labeled, and put away. We may not want to leave it there because, like I said, this is not stuff I need ready access to, but you can see what a difference that makes. This tote is pretty big. You could get a couple like 3-year-old children to take a bath in this thing together, and we've reduced it down to just 1.5 shelves on this storage unit, so that's pretty awesome. The next thing we're going to do is deal with this moldy, nasty window because it has been grossing me out ever since I saw it the other night. So we need to get all this crap cleaned out. So I'm going to go get a bucket of water with some bleach in it and some paper towels and probably a face mask, all kinds of crap, and just start going to town on this. So I got my gloves, my respirator, some paper towels, trash bag, bucket of hot bleach water with a Dollar General disposable washcloth, and now we just have to do the nasty and get it cleaned up. Well guys, I'm no expert, but I don't think this window was installed very well. All that crap that's remaining is concrete. It's like cement. Who knows how that happened. I don't know how they pour basements. This is not my domain. But I also think that you're not supposed to be able to just drop a window straight out of the frame as easily as this one came out. I don't know if this was assembled properly or not, but what I am willing to tell you is I am probably the first person to ever have cleaned the tracks and the rollers and all that crap out of this window. So yeah, it was hella nasty. One thing I'll just throw out there, because one of my viewers has kind of mentioned that, you know, basements aren't a universal thing. These don't happen everywhere in the US or everywhere in the world for that matter. So you may think it's a little weird that there's a window below ground. Like my yard is like 4 feet that way. And that's so you can escape if there's ever a basement fire. So if there's ever a fire that blocks your access to the stairs, you can run over and you have another exit. You can open this window and jump on out and not die in a fire. With that explained, if this were my house, I would help prevent that kind of crap from happening again, where just junk builds up around the gaskets and leaks in and all that, by putting a dome on this window lip right here. You can buy just like plastic domes to help shelter these from getting water and snow and stuff. And with nothing like that here right now, it's just free to get all the junk in it at once, and that'll all blow against the windows and everything over time. You can see there's a drain down there that just drains out into the ditch behind the house probably. But you can see just how gross this whole window well thing is outside, and get an idea of how much just crap comes down in here. But anyway, this is Mystery Box March, not Fixing My Landlord's House March, although it's kind of going that way too. This is a radical improvement over how it was. It was super gross. I don't know how much of that was actually mold or just dirt, but either way, it's all disinfected, cleaned up. It reeks of bleach down here, so I think we've done our job. We probably won't be getting coronavirus this week from this anyway, and was pretty happy to have my respirator. I think I'm going to chuck those filters just to play it safe. They're pretty old. I've got some new ones anyhow. So with that nasty bit of business behind us, and one mystery box unloaded, that is going to conclude day 3 of Mystery Box March. As always, I want to thank you guys for stopping in, and we'll catch you on the next one. I'm Max, that's Saddington Bear, and we make videos like this all the time. Here are a couple links to some other videos we've made, and we really appreciate you guys stopping in.